So David commented saying, can you do a retouching video for this? And I was like, yeah. And then it was like, and your retouching actions pack and your melanin skin tone pack are amazing. I was like, oh, thank you, David. And thank you guys for your support. I really appreciate that. So this is the photo that we are going to retouch. And before we start, if you're new on this channel, my name is Eustace, and if you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe and smash that bell icon so that when I put up my next video, you will be notified. Let's do this. So the first thing that we are going to do, we're just going to remove the blemishes. So you can remove the blemishes using the clone stamp tool, you can remove the blemishes using the patch tool, you can remove the blemishes using the healing brush tool. But the best way to remove the blemishes is using the frequency separation. So I'm going to use the frequency separation to remove the blemishes, and I'm going to use my actions, my frequency separation action. I'll put the link to the frequency separation action where you can just download it and use it for free. So I'm going to go to my layers here, and then I'm going to make a copy of this layer. Press Ctrl J on the keyboard to make a copy. Then I'm going to go to my actions, and then I'm going to select the frequency separation action here. And then it's going to ask me the radius that I want to use. Let me zoom it in. So I'm going to reduce the radius to 0, and then I'm going to select a place or the area in the photo that has a lot of textures. So I'm going to pick this one right here, and then I'm going to start adding the radius until I stop seeing the textures, but I can still see the features of a face. Let me zoom out here. Just going to go with the radius of 12, and then I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to open the frequency separation folder, and then I'm going to select the high frequency, this one on top. I'm going to go to my tools, and then I'm going to select the clone stamp tool here. So I'll make the brush bigger than the blemish or the pimple that I want to remove. So I'll start with this one here. So I'm going to replace the pimple with this part. So I'm going to Alt to sample this part, Alt and then left click to sample, and then I'll just paint on the blemish or the pimple that I want to remove. So I'll paint here, paint like that. Then I'm going to sample here, and then I'll paint like that. Then I'll sample, then I'll remove like that. Then I'll sample this part, and then I'll remove it, sample like that. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to softening the skin just a little bit. So I'm going to go to the frequency separation folder, and then I'm going to select the low frequency, and then I'm going to go to my tools here, and then I'm going to select the lasso tool, and then I'm going to go on top here, and then I'll select the feather of 20 pixels. I'm going to put 20 here, and then I'm going to press enter on the keyboard. I'm going to make a selection like this. So I'm going to go to filter, and then I'm going to select the blur, and then I'm going to select the Gaussian blur. I'm going to reduce the radius to 0, and then I'll start pushing the radius up until I'm okay with how soft I want the skin to be. So I'm going to select maybe the radius of 25 pixels. Then I'm going to press enter on the keyboard. So I'm going to select this part. Then I'm going to go to filter. Then I'm going to select the blur, and then I'm going to select the Gaussian blur, and then I'll reduce the radius to 20 pixels, and then I'm going to go here, and then I'll do the same. So I'm going to select the nose like this, and then I'm going to go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, 10 pixels, and then okay. These are before, these are after. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to whitening the eyes. I'm going to use my teeth and eye whitening actions. I'll put the link to the teeth and eye whitening action in the description where you can just download it and use it. So I'm going to go to my actions, and then I'm going to select the teeth and eye whitening. Then I'm going to open the teeth and eye whitening folder, and then I'm going to select the photo filter here. And then I'm going to select the layer mask here. And then I'm going to go to my tools, and then I'm going to select the brush, the normal brush, and then I'm going to set the opacity to 100%, flow to 100%. So since the layer mask is black here, I'll set the foreground color here to white. Just place X on the keyboard. So I'm going to zoom it in, and then I'll make the brush a little bit smaller, and then I'll just paint the place that I want to be brighter, like here. These are before, these are after, these are before, these are after. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to do the dodging and burning. So I'm going to go to my actions here, and then I'm going to select the dodging and burning checker here. What this one does is just going to guide me the places where I'm supposed to dodge and the places where I'm supposed to burn. So let me open the dodging and burning checker folder so that you can see the layers that are in the folder. So I'm going to open it. So I have a black and white layer, and then I have a curve layer, and then I have a color fill layer. So these are the adjustments that are going to guide me with the dodging and burning. I'm going to zoom it in a bit, and then I'm going to go to my actions, and then I'm going to select the macro dodging and burning here. Then I'm going to go to macro dodging and burn folder, and then I'm going to select the dodge. Let me just disable the dodging and burning checker. Let me disable here. So what I want this skin to blend with this skin, even this skin to blend with this skin. So I'm going to do that using the macro dodging and burning because I'm dodging and burning smaller details. Let's do that. I'm going to enable the dodging and burning checker. The next thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to select the brush. I'm going to go on my tools, and then I'll select the brush here. And then I'm going to go on top here. I'll set the opacity to 100%, and then I'll set the flow to 2%. Then I'm just going to dodge this part so that it can blend with this other part. So let me make the brush a little bit smaller, and then I'm going to start. I'm going to place an odd arrow on the keyboard, and then I'm going to rotate the photo like that, and then I'm going to let go like that, and then I'll keep dodging from this side like this. I can dodge nicely like this compared to the way the photo was. So let me disable the dodging and burning checker. So these are before, these are after, these are before, these are after. So I'm going to enable the dodging and burning checker, and then I'll proceed with the dodging and burning. So let me just dodge this part. I'm going to place an odd arrow on the keyboard, and then I'm going to place escape to just go back to the normal mode. And then I'm going to zoom it in, and then let's do the before and after. Let me disable the dodging and burning checker. So let me zoom it in just a bit. So these are before, these are after, these are before, these are after. So I'm going to proceed with the macro dodging and burning. So I'm going to reduce the opacity to 60% is okay. These are before, these are after, these are before, these are after. So the next thing that we are going to do now, we're just going to do the global dodging and burning. So I'm going to enable the dodging and burning checker. And then I'm going to go to my actions. Then I'm going to select the global dodging and burning. Then I'm going to go to the global dodging and burning folder. I'm going to open it, and then I'm going to select the dodge. Then I'm going to go on top here. I'm going to set my opacity to 100%. I'm going to set my flow to 2%, and then I'm going to go to my tools here, and then I'm going to select the brush. So I'll make the brush a little bit bigger, and then I'll dodge the brighter part. Dodge this so that the skin can just blend a bit. Let me just zoom it in a bit, and then we'll dodge this part. Even dodge this part here. So I'm going to dodge this part. I'll zoom it out a bit, and then I'll dodge this part like so. Dodge this part, Then I'm just going to dodge this part a bit, and then I'm going to go to my dodging and bending folder. Then I'm going to select the burn, and then I'll come here and then I'll bend the shadows. So I'm going to bend this part so that we can just make it stand out more. Even bend this part just a bit, even bend this part just a bit. I'm going to disable the dodging and bending checker here. So this is what we've done. These are before, these are after, these are before, these are after. So I'll bend this part, also bend this part. So these are before, these are after. So I'm going to reduce the opacity of the dodge to maybe say 60%. Then I'm going to reduce the opacity of burn 70%. These are before, these are after. If I want, I can reduce more, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll just leave it like this so that we can see what we've done. So let me close this. Then I'm going to zoom it in a bit. So let's just add the lipstick on the lips. Let's go down here on adjustments. Let's select the new layer. Let's just make a new layer here. It's here on top. Let's select the brush, and then let's go on the lips. We're going to add Alt to sample the color from our lips. So we are going to add Alt, and then we'll sample this color, and then we'll use the same color and this same brush to just paint our lips. Set the flow to 100%. Let me zoom it in. I'm going to place an odd arrow on the keyboard so that I can just rotate the photo. I can't paint nicely the way it was, but like this I can paint nicely. So I'm going to use the brush, the same brush, and then I'll just paint our lips like that. I'm going to place arrow on the keyboard and then odd, place an odd, and then I'll rotate it like that, and then I'll just paint like that. I'll place arrow and odd, and then I'll rotate it, and then I'll let go, and then I'll keep brushing like that. And then I'll press an odd arrow on the keyboard and then escape to go back to normal mode. Let me zoom out, and then I'm going to go to blending option here, and then I'm going to select soft light. So I'm going to zoom it in, and then I'll paint nicely where I want the lipstick to be. So I'll paint nicely here, I'll paint nicely here, I'll paint nicely. So the lipstick has gone where I don't want it to be. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to add a layer mask, this icon. So since the layer mask is white here, I'm going to set the foreground color to black so that when I paint black on the white layer mask, it's going to remove this effect. So I'm going to select the brush, and then I'll just paint there to remove the lipstick where I don't want it to be. And then I'll zoom it out like that. So I'm going to go down here on this circle adjustment layer, and then I'm going to select the hue and saturation, and then I'm going to go on the hue and saturation, and then I'm going to light click, and then I'm going to select clipping mask here. Whatever adjustments I'm going to make here, they're just going to be applied on the lipstick layer. Let's name this lipstick. We're going to select the hue and saturation here, and then we are going to go on these sliders, and then we're just going to play with the sliders, and I'm going to select the hue slider. Oh, this is too much, somewhere here. And then I'm going to select the lightness. If I want, I can make it brighter, but I want it to be a little bit darker. And then I'm going to select the saturation. I'm just going to reduce the saturation just a bit. So these are before, these are after. So I'm matching this to this color here. It's the one that I'm matching this color to. If I want, I could have just picked this color, but anyway, we've learned something. So the next thing that I'm going to do now, I'm just going to color grade the photo. So I'm going to go on top here, and then I'll select the hue and saturation adjustment that we added, this, and then I'm going to go to my actions, and then I'm going to select the light contrast. I'm going to play that. So these are before, these are after, these are before, these are after. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a curve adjustment. I'm going to go down here on this circle, and then I'm going to select the curves. And then I'm going to go to the curve here. I'm going to select the hand tool here. And then I'm going to select the brighter part of our skin. So I'm going to select this part. I'll make a point here. And then I'll drag it up just a bit like that. And then I'm going to select the darker part of our skin, not this part. I'm going to select, let's say I'm going to select this part. And then I'm going to push it down just a bit. So this is our before, this is our after, this is our before, this is our after. The next thing that I'm going to do now, I'm just going to reduce the reds in these adjustments that I've just added. So I'm going to go to my actions here, and then I'm going to select reduce reds here. And then this is our before, this is our after, this is our before, this is our after. So I'm going to reduce the opacity. She looks pale, 15%. Let me go for 15%. So this is our before, this is our after. So we've reduced some reds in the photo. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a LUT on top of this. I'm going to use my Melanin Skin Tone LUT pack. I'm going to go to adjustments here, and then I'm going to select the color lookup, and then I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to select the load 3D LUT, and then I'll start with the Melanin Tone one. So this is our before, this is our after. Melanin Tone 2. Okay, let me try the Melanin Tone 4. Okay, so I'm going to go with my Melanin Tone 1. I'm going to select my Melanin Tone 1. So this is our before, this is our after, and then I'll just reduce the opacity just a bit, 35%. This is our before, this is our after. So this is our before, all the adjustments, this is our after, this is our before, this is our after. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to add one more adjustment. I'm going to go down here, then I'm going to select this adjustment layers, and then I'm going to select the color balance. I'll start with the shadows. So I'm going to go to the shadows. I'll just add a little bit of the blue tone in the shadows. I'm going to add 4, just a little bit of the cyan, -2. Then I'm going to select the highlights, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the blues. 2 is fine. Then I'm going to add a little bit of the cyan, -2. So this is our before, this is our after, this is our before, this is our after. I just wanted to have that blue tint in it. Let me zoom out. So this is our before, this is our after. So the next thing that I'm going to do now, I'm just going to sharpen the image. I'm going to make a visible stamp layer. I'm going to hold Ctrl plus Alt plus Shift plus E on the keyboard. So we've made a visible stamp layer. I'm going to make a copy of this same layer, Ctrl J on the keyboard, and then I'm going to disable the one on top, and then I'm going to select the layer 1. I'm going to go to my actions here. So I'm going to select the image sharpening here. So this is going to pop up. So this is where I control how sharp I want my image to be. So I'm going to reduce the radius to 0. I'm looking at the image, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the radius to maybe 0.8 is okay. I'm going to click OK. So I don't want the entire face to be sharp. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a layer mask here. I'm going to go down here, then I'm going to add the layer mask here. I'm going to press Ctrl plus I on the keyboard to invert the layer mask. I'm going to go to my tools here, and then I'll select the brush. Since the layer mask here is black, I'll set the foreground color to white. I'm going to place X on the keyboard, and then I'm just going to paint where I want the image to be sharp. So I want this part of her skin to be sharp. I also want this part of her skin to be sharp. I mean this part of her nose to be sharp. Like this. So let me just reduce the opacity just a bit. 60%. So before, so after. For the other layer, which is on top, I'm going to select it. I'm going to enable it. And then I'm going to go to my actions, and then I'm going to select the eye sharpening. I'm going to select the eye sharpening. So it's going to ask me the radius. So my main focus here is the eyes. So let me just take this here. Then let me zoom it out. I'm going to reduce the radius to 0, and then I'll start adding 0.5. Okay, and then I'm going to click OK. So I'm going to go to the eye sharpening folder, and then I'm going to select this layer mask, and then I'm going to go to my tools here, and then I'll select the brush, the opacity 100%, the flow 100%, and then I'm going to zoom it in like this. I'll reduce the size of the brush. I'm just going to paint on the eye here. I'm going to go this side, and then I'll just do the same. So this is our before, this is our after, so that the eyes can just stand out. So this is our before, this is our after, this is our before, this is our after. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video or if you learned something from the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to retouch fast and level up your retouching skills, you should check out my retouching actions pack. The link will be in the description below. You should also check out my melanin skin tone pack and some packs on my store. I'll put the link in the description below. And if you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe and smash that bell icon so that when I put up my next video, you will be notified. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.